So let's talk about quality inspections. Now, one of the reasons that we do in-process inspections primarily is to catch errors on the production floor. However, there is something that's referred to as the 1:10:100 ratio. And so what that means is that if we catch something during design, that's at the absolute best time for us to catch it, because um, to catch something in production will cost us 10 times more. If we don't catch something and it actually reaches the customer, it's going to cost us 100 times that um, to resolve the problem. So there are generally three types of inspections which are performed. One is a pre-production inspection. Is basically if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. So what we want to do is to make sure that we check all the components and parts, that they're inspected prior to production. And once we're in production, we then usually refer to those as in-process or in-line inspection. So what this means is that during production we are producing parts that have errors and they need to be fixed. So the factory has what is referred to as rework, and sometimes the person performing a task can do the rework, or as many companies have, is they'll have a rework area, and this is an area where a part is sent to actually have rework performed by persons who are in the rework area. If the product can't be repaired, that's a problem, and it becomes no longer rework but actual scrap. Now, when it comes to rework, probably the most interesting rework I came around was at the Corvette factory. And during a recent tour that I took, there was a staging area for Corvettes that had been rejected and were sitting in an area for an engineer to go over and to try to resolve the problem, which is pretty interesting because a lot of the engine is generally tested before it's installed. Their electronics are tested, but some aspect of the assembly didn't work. The third type of inspection that occurs is a final random inspection. And sometimes this is called a pre-shipment inspection, where some of the parts are pulled and inspected. Now, we actually try to avoid as much as we can all of these inspections. If we push back on our suppliers to ensure that they're sending us good parts, and we have a good supplier quality assurance program, we can have a good idea that our incoming parts are going to be acceptable. And then perhaps we just do a random inspection on a small number of parts. In process, we can really drive the inspection process back to the people performing the assembly processes. And these people are then able to check product prior to passing it to their next person in line. So on that small case, the person performing a process is the supplier, and the person that they pass the product to next is the customer. So if they make sure that they're not passing on bad product, that takes out the need for the in-process inspection. Or maybe there might be some random uh, inspection that's done. The final inspection, uh, we'd really like to eliminate altogether by having the last workers who perform the task actually do a general inspection or have some sort of poka-yoke in place to ensure that the product meets the requirements. So, um, what we want to do is to make sure that we have good manufacturing processes and controls, and this will help us to ensure that we're producing a good final product.